Hi, everybody, and welcome to our workshop. So I'm Maya, founding engineer here at 14AI,
Welcome, everyone.
and I'm excited to talk today about designing smarter QA, AI quality systems for customer support teams. And in this workshop, you're going to learn how to review, refine, and improve your AI agents' responses, and also how to build a lightweight QA process that actually scales. So feel free to share in the chat where you're calling from and one tool you can't live without. Would love to see your responses. So before we dive into the workshop, I want to start by talking about why AI QA matters. So in AI-driven support, accuracy and trust are essential. AI agents can respond to thousands of customers in real time, but even small errors can spread quickly and impact your brand. So, this workshop is all about setting up a simple and effective QA process that can help you catch issues early, helps you refine your AI outputs, and also can help create a more consistent experience for your customers. So, whether your team is just getting started or managing scaled AI agents, or you just want to learn more about what QA looks like for AI agents, QA is a must-have layer in your workflow. So let's go over today's agenda. So first, we're going to be talking about what QA means in an AI support context. So why do AI agents need QA just like human agents do? And what happens when they don't? Next, we're going to talk about how to build a simple system for reviewing AI agent output. So this is going to be a lightweight review process using a rubric to catch errors and inconsistencies. Next, we're going to talk about spotting issues and identifying fixes using real examples. So here we're going to talk about using shared dashboards, tags, also different workflows to really systematize agent reviews and help you and your team track common issues. Then we're also going to talk about tools to scale your QA loop. And we're also going to talk about different takeaways and different things that you can try this week to learn and really solidify these QA concepts. So, what are some practical next steps that you can implement for your QA processes within your existing workflows? So let's first cover what QA means in AI support. So it's a process. So QA is the systematic review and the improvement of AI agent responses to maintain quality standards at your organization. Also, the necessity. So AI agents, they do not self-correct over time unless someone updates their input. And in terms of impact, QA improves accuracy, tone, and trust across thousands of conversations and can help keep your system get better and better. So why QA matters? And I will also cover the lightweight system that you can start implementing today. So why QA matters? So in terms of scale, so AI can repeat one mistake in hundreds to thousands of chats. In terms of coverage, human QA might catch 3% of cases, but AI QA can scan 100%. In terms of trust, poor answers can lead to a loss of confidence, support friction, and also brand damage. So let's cover building a lightweight QA system now that we have some of these QA fundamentals down. So here's what you can do. You can set up a simple process. So you can assign 1 to 2 people per week to review AI generated threads, or you can also, assign your entire team. We're going to be really talking about how this really is an important team process. So also it's really important to use a consistent rubric. So some of the questions that you can add into your rubric are whenever you see something, going wrong, or going right, you can ask yourself, is this answer factually correct? Is it relevant to the question asked? Does it sound like your brand or your tone? And Did it follow compliance or escalation rules if necessary? So now let's cover an exercise. So this one is called What's the issue here? So here's the background. You have a Slack integration at your company, and it's recently become available for all the users. So docs were updated, your system prompt was partially updated, but some threads still mention pro only access. And here's your scenario. So you have a customer saying, "Hey, I thought Slack was free now, but I can't add it." And your AI agent responds, "Slack integrations are included in our Pro plan. You can upgrade in settings, billing." So what's the real issue here? So these three options here, and I'd like for you to take some time to think this through, and when you're ready, put these in the chat. So A, the system prompt wasn't fully updated. B, the knowledge base wasn't rewritten clearly. And C, the product rollout didn't sync with support tooling. So make sure to share your answer in the chat below. And we'll be monitoring the chat. And as always, feel free during the duration of this workshop to add any of your questions, any comments. And if you go back to this exercise and have an idea, you can also put it in the chat below. So now we are going to cover what happens after a QA review. So sometimes you're going to want to implement some prompt edits. So you're going to want to refine your system instructions to clarify agent behavior and prevent similar issues. So based on what happened in the QA thread, you're going to want to update your prompts. And so, you can help prevent this in the future. Something good is to also, verify your wording with your team as well. It's always good to get another pair of eyes on it to actually verify what you're doing. And then, as always, you're going to want to test with your prompt update, test with your customer questions that you've seen as well to ensure that what you actually updated is outputting the behavior that you want. Then we also have documentation updates. So you can revise your existing knowledge base content when source material is lacking or unclear. So if you have a question and you realize that your docs aren't updated and they could have answered it if the information was in there, this is a perfect chance to update that. And it's not only going to help your agent perform, but it's also going to, help your docs and your knowledge base be more robust. There's also what you can also do is have new documentation. So here you can, create new content when information is missing entirely from your knowledge base. So of course, this is, a perfect opportunity to make sure that your docs are updated and, can consistently surface new information. And also guardrails. So, you can also implement different types of filters or rules to limit potential for bad responses in sensitive areas if you do see this coming across in a question. So, it's always good to review your guardrails and think about how you are handling these kinds of situations. Now, we have time for another activity. So this one is a thread review activity. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to give you and walk you through an example scenario, and your task is to do a mini QA on this response. And basically, what's happening here is you have a customer writing in. They say, "Hi, I want to upgrade my workspace to the Pro plan, but I can't find the option." Your AI agent responds, "Thanks for reaching out. To upgrade to the Pro plan, just go to your workspace settings and click Upgrade to Premium. Let us know if you need anything else." But here's some additional context that you need to know. The company no longer uses the term premium, and the upgrade flow has changed. So, what's your task? So, your task here is to determine, is this answer accurate? Is it helpful to the customer? What issues do you see here, if any? And how would you fix it? For example, would you edit the prompt? Would you update the docs? Or would you adjust the agent logic? So make sure to share your ideas in the chat below with your reflections. So another topic that I want to cover is, automating feedback loops. So in terms of review, you can analyze your AI responses using shared dashboards. You can also keep track of them using Slack threads, spreadsheets, or also there are dedicated tools like Loris QA, for example, that can help automate this more. It's also another good strategy is to tag. So categorizing responses with pattern tags, for example, outdated info, confusing tone, to identify and keep track of trends. Also, it's important to, keep track of all the issues that you're facing, that you're noticing coming up. So maintain a running list of common issues and required fixes across the system. So, you can see where to go next with your team, where to put more focus next. Another thing that's important is repetition, right? So it's really important to create a regular cycle where we review, you act, test, and iterate to continuously improve your process. So, the most important thing here is consistency and just being able to address, and really, this is going to help you keep a pulse on how your agents are actually performing, how are they interacting with customers, where are the gaps that we need to fill in. I also want to touch on an important topic, which are evals and why they matter. So evals are repeatable tests that check how your AI agent performs in common or high-risk scenarios. You can automate them using your QA platform, or you can also use a selection of dedicated evaluation frameworks. So different things that you can do with evals. So LLM scoring. So you can actually use LLMs to evaluate the tone, the accuracy, or the helpfulness of your responses. So you don't have to actually, evaluate these by hand. Evals really help with regression testing. So they are good at catching issues caused by changes to your system prompts or your documentation. Even a small change that you don't think would really impact a lot of things can actually lead to a lot of different responses that you do want to catch. Team alignment. So it also helps with establishing consistent expectations across your support organization. And also, it's really important to have these test sets. So building libraries from past failures and edge cases to prevent recurrence. So every time you make a change to your prompts, every time you add some, new documentation, you can see how it affects your test set. So something that I want to highlight is, even a lightweight setup, such as 5 to 10 examples of customer questions and AI responses, can help spot issues before they reach customers. Now let's talk about some best practices and some common pitfalls that you may encounter. So, what works? It's important to prioritize high impact threads. For example, billing, security, or compliance topics. It's as I mentioned earlier, it's really important to make QA part of your weekly team workflow. Don't treat this as a solo task that you do once every couple of weeks, or a one-off task. QA is a recurring process that, if you invest the time, the effort, and you think about how to kind of implement these lightweight processes, can really, really pay off in the quality of your answers and of course what your customers experience is with your support tools. And so some things to avoid: only reviewing obvious mistakes, assuming prompt updates will fix everything. Also, not testing on real customer data, just, using toy examples that your team made up, and also letting documentation issues sit unresolved. It's good to get in the practice of, as soon as you see a documentation issue, being proactive about updating it so that it doesn't affect more customer questions downstream. And here is a tip. So when a response goes wrong, ChatGPT can actually help you tighten your system prompt. So using failed examples to draft clearer instructions that guide the agent towards better outputs. You can show it, okay, it went wrong in this scenario, and this is what happens. You can ask ChatGPT to help with that rewording, and really make sure that the wording in your prompt is very tight, so that you prevent scenarios like your failed scenario from happening again. And now let's talk about some key takeaways that we discussed. So first, team effort. So QA isn't a solo task. It's building and maintaining great AI support requires collaboration across multiple people, lots of communication, being transparent when things go wrong, and brainstorming fixes, updating documentation. There's really a lot of parts to this process. Um, AI agents need quality assurance just like humans do. And it's important to have a holistic approach. So, prompt tuning, doc updates, and review cycles are all part of a healthy system and should be done regularly. And exponential impact. The fixes you can make today can improve hundreds to thousands of responses tomorrow. One small doc change, that can, impact hundreds of responses that you'll receive tomorrow. And there's a lot to do with QA, but something that is helpful is, starting small. So beginning with a lightweight process and staying consistent. That is very important. So looking ahead, in today's workshop, we explored how to set up a simple, scalable QA workflow to review AI agent responses and improve quality over time. Now it's time for you to practice. You can review our step-by-step QA guide to run a thread review using your own support data, and you'll also be able to get a key recap of the different concepts that we covered in this workshop. Also, stay tuned for our next workshop, Wednesday, 9 a.m. PT, where we will dive deeper into how MCP can transform support. So if you found today helpful, you'll definitely want to join us in the next week. And you will find all of these links to the guide and to the workshop next week. Those are going to be in the chat, so you can access them easily. So now is some time for some Q&A. So I'll stick around and look at the chat and answer your questions. And of course, I want to thank you for being here, for tuning in. We'll answer your specific questions. As you know, you'll get the recap. And if you ever have questions or feedback about about your QA, about starting out with QA, you can contact us here, team at 14 AI. And thank you so much for joining our workshop today, and we hope to see you next week.